Before we jump into the dungeon, I wanted to go over two new NPCs added that are important. The first is this peddler. He will sell 3 items. One will be the dimensional pumpkin. This is what you can use to trade in for some of the goodies in the event. We have a chocolate for the recipes, and then we have the candy corn, which you will use to unlock the chest at the end, kind of like our current dimensional coins. Now, these are daily, so you do want to find this vendor and buy them every single day. You do have a limited amount of times you can open that chest. We do have the daily login. Some days you'll get 1 candy corn, some days you'll get 2, and then you want to buy this one for an added attempt at loot. So at minimum, you should get 2 a day. On some days though, you will get 3. The second NPC you'll be able to find in any of the major cities, so Castleton and Stoneguard. This is where you will turn those dimensional pumpkins into. You have a head costume, an amatoy, one of those play morphs that you can jump with, and then a regular pumpkin jack-o'-lantern morph. It does also have some trait unlock stones, some extraction stones, the enchanted ink, and then the stellarite as well. Now, some of these are one-times, the others are weekly. Jumping into the dungeon, the theme is on point. The music, the atmosphere, everything is just amazing. As far as the difficulty goes, I don't think it's too difficult mechanically. I don't know if these things are meant to hit as hard as they do, but stuff in here really hurts. But in terms of like the boss fights and like the mechanics they dish out, they seem fine. Now, when you start off in this dungeon, a lot of these enemies will explode on death and they will deal a lot of damage. So just keep that in mind. Coming up into this big room here at the start, you will need to kill some of these walking jack-o'-lantern pumpkin guys, so they will drop a key for you. There is a locked door. What you can do is you can click on these pumpkins that are on the ground, and as you pull them out, they will turn into the enemies. So if you have the AoE, you can just go around and click a couple of them at a time and just group them up, AoE them down, see if you get a key, and then just rinse and repeat until you get a key. You will get a message in your party chat window box letting you know you do have a key. When you get it, you will just go ahead and take a right from where you came into, and there will be a locked kind of gate, and you will just go through there to continue with the dungeon. Once through that gate, you'll hop into this pumpkin flying cart thing. This is going to be our means of transportation for now. It's like a mix of E.T. and Cinderella, honestly. It'll get you from each of the individual platforms. Now, on the first platform you get to, the objective here is to kind of feed it pumpkins. I'm not sure if that's cannibalism or not, since it is a pumpkin car and it's fueled by pumpkins. So, not sure. And the way you do it is there will be pumpkins on the ground that will have this either like diamond or 2 stacked square icon above them. If you click on it, you'll have a countdown above your head. That is how long you can carry that pumpkin for until it drops to the ground and you have to go find a new one. So you got to pick it up and carry it to the cart. And at the front of the cart, assuming that's where its mouth is, you got to shove pumpkins into the other pumpkin, basically. And you need to get a total of 3 to actually get the car fueled again to fly to the next part. You won't have all of the pumpkins in this little entry room. You do have to walk up the stairs, open the gate, and inside this room you'll have more ads and more pumpkins. Now, you do not have to click all of the pumpkins. You just have to click on the ones with those icons above it. Those will be the ones you have to turn in. Keep in mind while you're doing this, that gate that you use to enter this room will periodically close. So you do have to have somebody help the pumpkin carrier make sure that gate is open, because while they're holding that pumpkin, they can't actually interact with anything else besides the car. Once you've fed your cannibal car enough pumpkins, you'll be off to the next platform. Keep note here, a lot of people will go AFK and won't pay attention. There will be 2 monsters that will try to knock everybody off the cart. You have to use your block properly here to stay on the cart. If you get knocked off like we did, you can easily just fly back up if you pay attention. If not, you kind of fall to your death and you have to respawn. Once you land on this platform, you will get a wave of monsters. After you kill those, the first mini boss will spawn. All right, so the first mini boss, he'll have 3 mechanics. The first is these pumpkins that will chase you around. If they do chase you around, you can actually kite them to these gravestones that are around the boss, and they will kind of stick to those instead of you as the player. The second, he will spawn a bouncing pumpkin on top of a player, and that pumpkin, each time it bounces, will give a debuff to that player. And once that reaches 5 stacks, it will stun them. So just make sure that your healer has at least a cleanser 2 to remove this 1 or multiple stacks of that. And then the last one is flamethrower. He will just channel a conal flamethrower in front of him. Just don't be there. Once you beat that boss and you walk up these stairs, you'll do this kind of Indiana Jones pumpkin minigame where you have to run or roll through this hallway as a pumpkin and avoid this giant one from one-shotting you. Now, this pumpkin does jump. You can jump over those orange electric circles if you want to go that route. And all you have to do is just roll forward and then hide in these like little nooks by the wall to avoid the pumpkin from rolling over you and one-shotting you. Now, if you do have a player that's good at this and they make it all the way to the end, they will despawn the little pumpkins and the electric field on the ground, so you don't even have to do the mechanic if you have one person that knows how to do it pretty well. Final boss of the dungeon. Now, keep note before you get into mechanics, if you do end up dying, even though it looks like there's a barrier blocking you from entering, the res point is on top of a flight of stairs. You can actually just fly back into the arena, so that's really not a problem at all. So, mechanics. His first one will be a pull. He'll pull the group into the center, create an orange ring, and then you just kind of walk out of it. He'll blow it up, and then he'll kind of extend that ring to the outside. When he does that, you walk back inside. Or you can stay further out if you have that range. Second mechanic he does is he'll put a bubble around himself and spawn 3 of these kind of tops. If you hit them, they will move, and the objective is to push them into him. And each time one of them blows up on his bubble, it'll reduce his bubble or allow you to deal more damage to the boss. As he has that shield on him, he'll actually take reduced damage. So you do want to get all 3 of those tops pushed into him to have all 3 explode, so it takes off his shield. Another mechanic is these marching jack-o'-lanterns. The objective here is to actually get hit with the glowing one. Some of them will glow, and if you walk into them or have them walk into you, you will get turned into a pumpkin, which will allow you to ignore the big AoE he does afterwards. His last and final big mechanic is he will turn everybody into flies and push them to the opposite side of him in the arena, and have 2 bats that will fly back and forth across the arena. Your objective is to kind of just make it to him. It's kind of like a red light, green light situation. And then once you make it to him, you'll be able to damage him and you'll be fine. Now, to get to him, the fly has one action, which is to land on the ground or fly in the air. You want to fly towards him until he starts actually casting the AoE. You'll see the room glow and he'll pull energy towards him. At that point, you want to press the 1 button to fly down and land on the ground. You won't be able to move, but you'll avoid that AoE. Once you avoid the AoE, you can press the number 1 button again to fly back up into the air and then keep approaching him. Keep in mind, the bats will stun you if they get too close to you, so you don't want to kind of stop where the bats are. They will just fly back and forth horizontally in the same lines, so they're pretty easy to avoid, but just keep that in mind. I actually really like this dungeon. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what they do with the other event dungeons. I don't think they should really limit the loot. They should have really done that a little differently. That way you can always claim some kind of goofy stuff, maybe just some candy or whatever from the boxes, and tie the loot into something else. Let me know if you enjoyed the dungeon. Go ahead and leave your comments down below. And as always, if you did like the video, please leave a like. It just lets me know how well I'm doing, if I need to improve. And as always, subscribe to the channel. My name was Fate. Have a great day.